Belly fat is the biggest problem when it comes to our body shape that we have when we're over 40 and going through menopause. It can make you feel bad about yourself. Sometimes you blame yourself, but there's actually a biological reason why you're storing more belly fat. And it's not your fault. And in this video, I'm going to take you through the simple steps that I took to reduce my belly fat in my 50s. Hello fam, and welcome to my channel. My name's Melissa Neal, and this channel is all about helping you if you're a woman over 40 or like me, over 50, get in fantastic shape. And one of the things that I believed is that I was never going to be able to get flat abs, and that is absolutely not the case. You can really do a lot of good to your midsection and reduce that belly fat by taking the steps that I'm going to talk about in this video. But first of all, I want to say it's not your fault. I thought it was my fault when I had an accumulation of fat around my midsection. I thought, oh, you know, I must be just eating more. Maybe I'm not exercising as much. But actually, I was doing the exact same things that I was doing in my younger days. And I was kind of getting this middle-age spread. And what happens when you're going through perimenopause, menopause, or even postmenopause is your female hormones and even your male hormones, so estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, they're all depleting. And what happens is your body tries to generate more estrogen in particular. And what happens by doing that is it produces fat that typically sits around your midsection. Do watch this video right at the end, because I'm going to give you a couple of really surprising strategies to reduce your belly fat. One of the first things I discovered was that although belly fat is primarily about nutrition, there is one key exercise for tightening your midsection. When you actually drop that fat, you're going to reveal something that looks quite impressive, and that's stomach vacuums. And I'm going to show me doing that here. And what you do with stomach vacuums is you're bracing in your core really tight and sucking in. And this actually suits people who can't do the traditional floor ab exercises, for example. If you kind of brace in, breathe in and suck in really tight there, and you hold that, you can hold that for 30 seconds, you can hold that for a minute. I've been able to do 5 minutes at a time, and actually include that into your morning routine. But you do need to be doing your nutrition. You can't just do stomach vacuums and expect miracles. Doing stomach vacuums is all part of a whole process that I'm going to talk about, where you are going to be able to reduce your belly fat. You'll be able to include these strategies and actually see results. I'm going to put some pictures up here of some women who've done my programs using these strategies, and they've actually reduced their midsection. So you can do it too. Now I'm going to talk about nutrition. Nutrition, when it comes to belly fat, is just so important, and there's two aspects to this. There's kind of calories and macros, and then there's gut health. So I'm going to talk about calories and macros first. You do need to be in what's called a calorie deficit. So that means burning more energy than you're consuming. And if you want to know what calories you should be on, the best way to do that is go on a calorie calculator and calculate your maintenance calories. And once you know your maintenance calories, to get into a calorie deficit, subtract 200 to 400 calories from that. So if your maintenance calories are 2,000 calories, you should be on, for fat loss, for belly fat loss, around about 1,600 to 1,800 calories. Then you need to be taking your protein high, and you need to be getting the right balance of macronutrients. So what does that mean? That means your balance of your protein, carbohydrates and fats. And ideally around 35% protein, 35% carbohydrate and 30% fat. You can plug those numbers into MyFitnessPal, and that's going to give you an overall guide on your calories and macros. But roughly speaking, you need to be eating 1 gram of protein for every pound in your body weight, or if you weigh over 170 pounds, your goal body weight. So for me, I would need to be taking in about 125 grams, at least 130 grams of protein. Sometimes I go much higher than that, because the beauty of protein is it's really good for fat burning, and it's really good for helping your metabolism, and your metabolism's actually slowed down, and that's what's going to really work with reducing your midsection. That's what's happened to me. My midsection is actually better now at 55 than it was when I was, say, 48 years old. It's much better, and that's unusual. Usually that doesn't happen, it gets worse. But the reason being is I've done all these strategies that I'm talking to you about in this video, and if you do them, you will see results. So if you want a bit of a detailed breakdown on nutrition, I actually have a free nutrition guide. I'm going to link it up here, and you can download that today and start getting an idea. And this is I'm still talking about belly fat. You can get an idea of exactly how you should be eating. Gut health. Your gut can go really off when you get older, and I found that. I didn't have any problems with my gut until I hit about 50, and then all of a sudden I was having bloating. So if you're having bloating, and if you find you're having digestive issues, this is so common for people going through perimenopause, menopause, or even postmenopause. At this stage in life, you oftentimes find that you're going to have problems with your digestion and gut. So what can you do about it? Well, it's really good to take a probiotic. It's really good to avoid foods that are going to cause this inflammation in your body, because, you know, if your gut is off, it's going to cause inflammation in your body, and it's going to cause bloating, and it's going to cause belly fat. And the way to reduce that is actually also to avoid the foods, the triggering foods. For some people it might be beans, for some people it might be dairy, for some people it's actually gluten. So it's avoiding the triggering foods for you, and everyone is different. And then the other thing you can do is take a digestive enzyme with every meal. I will put a link in the description to my Amazon shop where you can buy probiotics and digestive enzymes. And it's really good to eat fermented foods. So things like sauerkraut or kombucha, which is a drink, apple cider vinegar, all those fermented type of foods are really good for your gut health. I'm going to talk about strength training, because strength training is absolutely amazing for reducing belly fat and getting rid of your midsection. And I'm actually not talking about the isolated core or ab work. What I'm talking about is generally strength training. Why is that? Well, because if you strength train, particularly if you do the big compound lifts that use multiple muscle groups, like your squats, your deadlifts, your lunging movements, your push movements, your pull movements, they're going to build your metabolism. They're really good fat burning and muscle building lifts. It's going to help you burn more fat, and typically that's what's happened to me, is help me burn fat around my midsection. It's absolutely incredible. And I'm going to put a picture up here of someone that employed this technique, and they did my program called the 12-week body sculpt that actually reduce their midsection by following these strategies. And key to all this is strength training. It's not just about doing ab exercises like I showed you at the start, a really great ab exercise. It's actually about generally doing strength training. I would recommend 3 or 4 times a week. And if you want to know what type of exercises and have an example of that, I have a free 7-day program which you can download and start using today. Download that. It's called Body by Bikini. I'm going to put a link up here and a link in the description. You can download that and get an idea of what strength training exercises you can do. I'm going to talk about core exercises, things like planks and leg raises and sit-ups. But the thing about it is, don't be heavily reliant on those core exercises to reduce your midsection. You use them not on their own, they're part of an overall strategy to actually reduce your belly fat, so that when the fat comes off, what you're going to reveal is a nice tight waistline. So, you want to do things like 3 to 5 1-minute planks, 3 sets of 10 to 20 leg raises, and 3 sets of 10 crunches. They're great, but they're just not going to work on their own to reduce your midsection. You do need to use them as an overall strategy for getting rid of belly fat. So I promised you I was going to give you a couple of surprising strategies to reduce your belly fat. And in the start, I talked about hormones, didn't I? And the fact that hormones have an impact on storing belly fat. And so what you want to be doing, as well as the nutrition and as well as the exercise, is actually taking care of your hormones. And one of the hormones that can be a bit of a culprit when it comes to storing belly fat, and you can kind of have what's called stress fat, and that's cortisol. So how do you manage cortisol? It's really important that you get a good night's sleep. And one of the problems in the modern world, lots of people can be sleeping with their smartphones. And when you wake up in the night, you can end up scrolling, can't you? And that's absolutely the wrong thing to do, because what happens with a smartphone is it has a blue reflective light and it's really stimulating, and so it's really bad for raising your cortisol. It's also quite bad if you're insulin resistant. What you want to be doing is putting your phone away, putting it upside down, and not being tempted to use it an hour before bed or when you wake up in the night. Use some really good sleep strategies. I've got a video that takes you through some of the key sleep strategies, so I'm going to put that up at the end of this video, and I will link it in the description. Stress can actually raise your cortisol levels, can't it? And cortisol, it's that fight or flight hormone. And what we don't want at this time in our lives is too much cortisol, because what happens is you store more fat around your midsection. It's really difficult to lose fat. You do need to employ, if you are stressed, some stress management techniques, relaxation techniques, taking some time out for you, and being mindful that if you are stressed, that could be the reason, if you're struggling to lose belly fat, that you can't lose belly fat. Do take a look at your stress levels and get some help if you need it. I hope you found that video helpful. I love making these videos about menopause weight loss because I know that I really struggled, and so I'm really happy to help you guys. Do comment if you found this helpful and whether you'd like any other videos about menopause fat loss.